Everybody, Brandon Brawadis here, Brawadis NBA show. Just like I promised earlier, I was going to answer your guys' questions that you left below on my Q&A video. I got over 60 questions. Needless to say, I don't think I could answer all of those, but I'm going to do my best to answer at least half. If I don't get to your question, then I promise I'll get to you next video, next Q&A. But here it goes. I got a bunch of questions, so I'm going to start off. Rookie of the Year pick by dman_24. Like I said in my previous video, Jahlil Okafor. I think that's an easy pick for me, but you never know. There could always be surprise rookies, but for now I'm saying Jahlil Okafor. What do you think of the Knicks for this upcoming season? From Squirtle Trainer 95. I think the Knicks are being underrated by a lot of fans. I think they have an outside shot of making the playoffs in the East. Not that I'm predicting them to, but I do think they have a chance. They'll win some games with Melo, Aaron Aflalo, Robin Lopez. But yeah, I think they're underrated. I still don't think they're a contender, but they don't get enough credit from the fans. Will the Suns make the playoffs? I got this question from ProX Gamer and Dominic Tavares. Like I said in my previous video, Portland Blazers falling out, Dallas Mavericks falling out. I do think it's the Phoenix Suns' time to finally get a playoff spot after 5 years of missing the postseason. You know, they signed Tyson Chandler, re-signed Brandon Knight. I finally think they have what it takes. I can't believe it's Jay asked me if I played high school basketball. A funny story here. I did not play high school basketball, and that was by choice. And my reasoning was that if I played high school basketball, I would have to play, obviously, in the high school basketball games. And the high school basketball games would be at the same time when the Phoenix Suns play. So ultimately, I chose to watch the Phoenix Suns over playing high school basketball. I knew a lot of the coaches, I knew all the players on the team, and I chose not to for my love for the Suns. So there's that. From YH Cyan, what do you think of the Hornets as a team, and who's your favorite player from Charlotte? I think the Hornets also have a chance at the playoffs in the East. They actually should make it this year, unless big injuries happen. They just picked up Nick Batum. They still have Kemba Walker, Al Jefferson, Michael Kidd-Gilchrist. My favorite player off that team is probably Kemba Walker. He just has a clutch gene in him that you cannot teach. If your favorite Suns player switched teams, would he still be your favorite player? From Yara Odat. No. Goran Dragic was my favorite player. I loved Goran Dragic. He got traded to the Miami Heat, and as much as I still love and support Goran Dragic, he is not my favorite player. I just can't have a favorite player from a team that I don't support. I support the Phoenix Suns. I don't support the Miami Heat, but I still do love Goran Dragic. No, if my favorite player leaves the Suns, he is no longer my favorite player. What will the Pacers do to replace Roy Hibbert and David West? From Giovanni Alfaro. Well, you forgot, they also lost Luis Scola, but they signed Jordan Hill. So there's one name to replace them. They also drafted Miles Turner, and they still have Jan Mahimi, so there's that. Can the Rockets get the #1 seed, and how well will they do? It's questions from Javier Ortiz and Grenade Shaw. I do think the Rockets got better than last season with Ty Lawson. I don't think they could get the #1 seed just because the West is too stacked, but I do think they could compete for a championship. The Rockets are just wrong place at the wrong time. They have a really good team in the wrong time to do it, when the West is arguably the best the Western Conference has ever been. But I do think they're better than last year. I do think they'll be top 5 for sure, and I think they'll make it farther, or not farther. I think they have a chance to go to the conference finals. The Thunder, contender or bust? From Fan X Aqua. If healthy, the Oklahoma City are easily a championship contender. Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, Enes Kanter, Serge Ibaka. That talent in the starting 5 could be more talented than any other starting 5 in the whole league. They also drafted Cameron Payne. I do think they're a contender, but just like that, if an injury occurs to Kevin Durant, then they fall right back where they were last season, which was on the cusp of making the playoffs and being bounced in the first round. So, if healthy, I do think the Thunder are a championship contender. This question from 2 people, from Tryon and from Dennis Fang. Kristaps Porzingis, will he help the New York Knicks? And is he a future Dirk or future Andrea Bargnani? First of all, I just want to say that I did watch him play up close in summer league. I watched him live like 2 games. He moves like a guard. He's 7'2", 7'3", 10'3". I don't know what he is, but he moves like a guard. He could run the floor. Um, he's so mobile for his size. I'm not sure I've ever seen anything like that. But at the end of the day, mobility does not make you a great basketball player. But his shooting stroke was also there. You wouldn't see it in the stats, but you could tell. I'm gonna say I'm gonna say he is a future Dirk. I'm not sure if he's gonna, have the same effect on the league that Dirk did, but I don't think he's gonna bust. He's really motivated. He's good character, and he just has too much talent. Will he help the New York Knicks? He will help the New York Knicks, but not this upcoming season. He's too raw. He's not gonna get as much playing time as other rookies. He's 18 unless he just turned 19 years old. He's not 20 years old. He's really, really thin. He's just not NBA ready right now. But I think he'll help them in the future. My underdog teams by Kaylee Kamen and the Andrew G 211. My underdog teams for this upcoming season, one being the Milwaukee Bucks, one of the most underrated signings of the whole offseason. It went almost unheard of. They got Greg Monroe. They're pairing him with Jabari Parker, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Michael Carter-Williams. They re-signed Chris Middleton. Jason Kidd is still the head coach. I think people are forgetting about them. They're going to be really good next year. I don't know about championship contenders, but they're going to be a playoff team. Also, my Phoenix Suns, people seem to forget that the past 2 seasons they were this close to making the playoffs. They clearly improved this summer by signing Tyson Chandler, re-signing Brandon Knight, who only played 10 games for us last season. They drafted sweet shooting guard Devin Booker. I think the Suns are underrated. Although I don't think the Minnesota Timberwolves are going to be a playoff team next year, I think they're being underrated just because of how bad they were last year. You got to remember they had a bunch of injuries. They were really young. Also, the Miami Heat, I think they're an underdog because they missed the playoffs last season, so it's hard to think of them as a championship contender. But in my head, that's exactly what they are. They're a championship contender. Okay, here's an interesting question from Christian Mulligan. The best backcourt and the best frontcourt in the league. I think easily the best backcourt is Steph Curry and Klay, Splash Brothers. You could argue, maybe not a strong argument, but you could put Brad Beal and John Wall up there. You could put Eric Bledsoe, Brandon Knight, Dwayne Wade, Goran Dragic. But easily the Warriors have the best backcourt. Now the best frontcourt. The San Antonio Spurs have Tim Duncan, LaMarcus Aldridge, and Kawhi Leonard. The LA Clippers have DeAndre Jordan, Blake Griffin, and Paul Pierce. I think those are two of the best front courts in the league. You also got to remember the Oklahoma City Thunder have Enes Kanter, Serge Ibaka, and Kevin Durant. Even the Utah Jazz, Rudy Gobert, Derek Favors, and Gordon Hayward. I think ultimately I would choose the Clippers, and the Spurs are not that far behind. My favorite six-man from Ruben Jimenez. I'm gonna just say one name, Isaiah Thomas. I love Isaiah Thomas's game. He's perfect for today's NBA, coming off the bench, giving you quick buckets. Also, he played for the Suns, but I do love Isaiah Thomas. Can Justin Anderson win Rookie of the Year from Jose Morales? I think Justin Anderson's going to have a huge role, but he's still going to be coming off the bench for Dallas behind Chandler Parsons, who's going to be playing huge minutes. And Dallas is still trying to win, so it's not like they're going to give him the keys to their offense. Unlike players like Jahlil Okafor or maybe D'Angelo Russell, Karl Anthony Towns, who are going to have the ball in their hands at all times. So no, I think Justin Anderson's going to surprise, but I don't think he's going to win Rookie of the Year. How will Rondo do with the Kings? And do I think it'll work out with Boogie and Rudy Gay? That's from Football Manager 2014 and Young Sav Gaming. Rajon Rondo signed a 1-year contract, meaning he has to prove himself this year or else he's going to get the same amount of money next season, if not less. I think he's going to shine. I think starting point guard has much more talent on his team than he did last season with Boston. I think it was a smart signing for Sacramento, especially considering it was only 1 year, because Rondo pretty much has no choice but to shine. If he doesn't shine, then you know his career is on the downside. How I think he'll work out with DeMarcus Cousins and Rudy Gay. I think with Rudy Gay, he'll work out fine. With DeMarcus Cousins, I think you're going to be hearing a few rumors of some locker room turmoil, but at the end of the day, they both went to Kentucky, so I think they're pretty good friends. I think he'll work out just fine. How will the Blazers do from Gummy Bear 206? If you watch the Portland Trailblazers so that you could analyze them, how they'll be in the future, then they're going to be good. But if you're expecting to see a playoff team, I suggest you don't watch any of their games next year. Their record is going to be really, really bad. What they're focusing on is player development. They have Noah Vonleh, CJ McCollum, Alan Crabb. I think they got Mo Harkless, Myers Leonard. They're filled with young players, and that's what they're going to focus on next season. Damian Lillard is still there, but they're not focused on winning. They're trying to kind of rebuild and get back into the winning stage in about 3 or 4 years. So just watch them from a player development standpoint and you'll be happy. Bulls or Pacers from Scott Studenroth. I think the Bulls are a better team than the Pacers, but it's much closer than what people think. People think the Bulls are up here, the Pacers are down here. Although I agree the Bulls are better, I don't know if it's that far of a gap. Potential coaches who could be fired, who is also from Scott. Speaking of Scott, I think Byron Scott is one coach who could definitely be fired if things aren't going the Lakers' way. Randy Whitman from Washington, Dwayne Casey, Toronto. You obviously have to remember David Blatt. If LeBron isn't feeling anything next season, then he could easily get David Blatt fired. Also, Lionel Hollins with Brooklyn. I think he stays, but he has a chance to get fired. My second favorite team from 2AS. You know who my second favorite team is? Nobody. I'm a Suns fan. I support no other team. And if I had to answer that question, I wouldn't be able to because I have one team. Okay. Players to keep... Oh, this is such a tough one. I had such a hard time. Players to keep an eye on next season, or in other words, breakout candidates from Domama Hoops and Vancouver. There's so many players that you could put in this category, and it's so hard to predict, but I'm just going to be focusing on pretty much players who were recently drafted. Definitely TJ Warren, Phoenix Suns small forward. He's most likely going to earn that starting spot over PJ Tucker. And if Summer League and the end of last season is any indication, then people need to keep an eye out for TJ Warren. He's a scoring machine. Also, Noah Vonleh, who got traded to Portland. He was a top 10 pick next season. He's going to have much more minutes. Giannis Antetokounmpo, it's his time to shine. Rudy Gobert, starting center. He's going to get a bunch of minutes, and he's going to produce. Also, Andre Drummond, now that Greg Monroe is gone, he's going to get much more touches. And a sleeper pick is Otto Porter. Now that Paul Pierce is gone, Otto Porter is most likely going to start for Washington, and he has to produce. He was a top 3 pick, and I think this is his 3rd or 4th year, so it's finally his time. When will the Phoenix Suns make the finals? From IDCM 302. I'm not going to put a year into this, and I'm not going to predict when they're going to make it because I have no idea, but I am going to put this out there. I hope they make it while I'm still alive because there's nothing more I would want to see than the Phoenix Suns playing in the NBA championship. So let's just leave it at that. Oh, this question was really easy for me. A healthy Kevin Durant or a healthy LeBron James? From this guy's name I couldn't pronounce, but it was parentheses Velo. I'd easily take LeBron James over Kevin Durant. And that's not knocking Kevin Durant anyway. I just think LeBron James is a superior player. And yeah, I would take LeBron James if he was healthy. Who will take it all next season from True Warrior 30? The Cleveland Cavaliers. If they're healthy, they will take it all. Kevin Love, Kyrie Irving, LeBron. Obviously, assuming Tristan Thompson goes back, Mo Williams. You just got to assume that they're going to take it next year. MVP for next year from Vince Notelli. Man, I'm going to put James Harden at the top of that list. But I don't think Steph Curry repeats. Steph Curry had a great season, but it's really hard to win back-to-back MVPs. Also, I think LeBron probably deserves it next year, but I think the league is done giving LeBron James the MVP award. I think James Harden, Anthony Davis has just as much a chance as James Harden does, if not better, to win the MVP award. And then also Russell Westbrook. If Kevin Durant goes down with injury or if some weird way Kevin Durant gets traded, Russell Westbrook carries that team again like he did last season. MVP is his. Those are my 3 picks, Westbrook, Davis, and James Harden. This question, the only reason I saved it for last is because it was so hard. Your favorite player who was not a member of the Suns, from I Can't Believe It's Jay. I've said all along that I only like players who play for the Suns. I could only feel like a type of support, a type of passion for the players that play for the Suns. But I made a little list. If I did have to choose players that I like, who have never been members of the Phoenix Suns, I like Chris Bosh. I like mainly because I think he would be a perfect fit here in Phoenix. I like Nick Vucevic. I like Dwayne Wade. Danny Green, I met him a few times and he's really nice. Paul George, Victor Oladipo because I wanted the Suns to draft him in 2013, and obviously LeBron James. I mean, it was hard because I don't really support other players who don't play for the Phoenix Suns, but if I had to choose, that would be my list. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and I love talking basketball. I had a blast answering all of these questions. Leave a comment what you guys think below, and if I didn't get to your question this time, I'll make sure to get it next time. Thank you guys.